Welcome to this month's mobile roundup. Network coverage has been a big issue in the past month, with O2 suffering 3 days of sporadic coverage, and as a result they've had to offer their customers 10% off their bill for July and £10 to spend in store. But the good news is that the fourth generation phone network, which is non-existent in the UK at the moment and only patchy across the United States, is due for rollout in 2013 in the UK. Now, 4G offers super high speed downloads, perfect for those people who want to stream video, listen to music in the cloud, or to take part in video calls. There's going to be an auction at the end of this year, which will allow all the major phone companies to bid for access to different parts of the 4G spectrum. And all the major phone companies are up to bid. They all want a slice of the 4G pie. Now, a couple of years ago, the web started to catch on to how big mobile was, and it's only now that the UK's phone network and infrastructure is catching up with the rest of the UK. Also released last month were figures showing that us Brits prefer to text than call. The number of calls has decreased by 5%, but the number of texts has increased to an average of 50 per week. And since 92% of the population now own a mobile, that's a lot of text messages. In phone news, Samsung's Galaxy S3 handset has sold over 10 million, which gives Samsung record profits for this year and positions the S3 as being one of their best-selling smartphones ever. Samsung are also looking for tablet sales with their updated Note 2 device, which is an updated version of the lukewarmly received Note. Apple news now, and it's expected that the iPhone 5 will be released on September the 12th. It's rumoured to have a mini dock connector, which makes it incompatible with existing iPhone accessories, but great news for accessory makers everywhere. A Japanese Apple fanboy has made what he claims is a Frankenphone, a Frankenstein device made up of leaked parts and specs from the iPhone 5 factories. It's got a bigger screen, slightly thinner, but otherwise it doesn't tamper much with the current design. And in a massive turnaround, Apple might be releasing a 7-inch iPad, a smaller version halfway between an iPhone size and a large iPad size. Despite Steve Jobs claiming that Apple would never release a small iPad, the rumours are that it will be released this September too. Now, unfortunately for Apple, a High Court ruling means that they must in effect advertise the Samsung Galaxy tablet after it was ruled that because it didn't violate Apple's patents, they had to recompense Samsung for having its sale banned. Apple will have to advertise the availability of the Galaxy tablet on their own site. And Apple's also at the centre of a copyright infringement claim from Taiwan University, who claim that the software used for Siri, Apple's personal assistant on the iPhone 4S, was stolen from their research. The update to iOS, which is the iPhone, iPad and Apple TV operating system, which is due in September, allows FaceTime video calls to be made over 3G, whereas currently it's only been a Wi-Fi option. However, some carriers are saying that they may have to charge for those calls. It's another area where Apple seems to be circumventing the carriers in order to connect iPhone users together for free. Now for Nokia, it's not all doom and gloom, although it's not exactly rosy either. The new Lumia range, which runs the new Windows Phone 8 operating system, is going to be announced at Nokia World in September. Nokia and Windows seem to be forging a really good relationship, but there are calls from within Nokia that the company should move over to the Android operating system, as it has a greater potential despite still being tied to a single massive company. So speaking of Google, their most recent attempt at a device has not gone great, with the Nexus Q being pulled from the online store and sent back to the drawing board. Google are giving some free devices out to recompense those who paid for a pre-order, but it's a sign of Google's maturity as a company that they've decided to withdraw the device even at this late stage of development, rather than go to market with one that they couldn't trust. Other phone manufacturers are going great guns this month too, with ZTE releasing the Grand X, a low-cost Android 4 handset, and the relatively unknown brand Thompson releasing the XView 2, a cross between a large phone and a small tablet, which will compete with Samsung's Note, and possibly the upcoming iPad 7-inch. Mobile apps are still going strong, although Facebook's new acquisition Instagram has had its access to users' Twitter followers revoked, possibly in a Facebook versus Twitter face-off. With the summer not firing on all cylinders, Weber's barbecue app might not be too useful, but luckily a new app called Weather, think weather but without all the vowels, looks phenomenal and may well help keep track of those pesky rain showers. And an app called Viclone is hoping to become the go-to app in videoing live events. It uses GPS to see when people are videoing in the same place, and it will cut together all of their videos to give a panoramic view of the event. It needs a lot of people at the same place using the app to be useful, but with all the sporting events on show this summer, it might make quite a splash. And speaking of sporting events, there's obviously a wealth of Olympic apps doing the rounds at the moment, with the BBC especially pushing out a very strong contender with live coverage, fixtures and results all in one place. The official Olympics app, which is free but is strangely supported by ads, it also looks pretty smart, with their branding, which some people have criticised really coming into its own. But it has super up-to-date news, results and information. There are also some great apps for helping you get to and from the games, with apps like Journey Pro, Tube Map and London Bus Checker bringing you real-time journey information and planning. As mentioned earlier, iOS 6 will land in September, but one of the big winners in the past few months is Windows Phone. Its use has grown by 17.6% this year, mostly due to its collaboration with Nokia and their Lumia phones. A new challenger for the mobile phone operating system market is on the horizon with Firefox OS from Mozilla, who also make the Firefox browser. It'll be an operating system that runs in the browser, so all the software, games and apps that run on it will be native HTML5 programs. Brazil will be the first country which gets to use it. It will be rolled out by Telefonica, who also own O2. So it shouldn't be too long before an O2 store near you is stocking a Firefox OS app. And Google has launched a few improvements too. There's now a dedicated Android blog which will keep people up to date with all things Android, and one of their most recent announcements was for Google Now, which is an Android service that gives you local weather, traffic information, sports scores and lots more. It's supposed to make your daily life run much more smoothly. Initial reviews that it works very well, but only in certain locations. So there we are for this month's mobile review. Stay tuned for more announcements in a few weeks.